Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. I'm here. It's the early morning hours of Wednesday. I've just completed a long road trip. I haven't been able to do a ton of these interactive videos the last 2 weeks. So I wanted to get back on here and interact. And if there's anyone awake who happens to catch this as you're scrolling through your social media, you're more than welcome to hop in with some questions, topics, takes, whatever you have for me. I'm willing to take it. Now I know that there's always a bit of a lag time between when I, start these videos when people come on. So this is what you call killing time. I see a few people have checked in. You're more than welcome to make a comment, make a question. If there's any topics going on in the world you want me to discuss, I will. I guess I'll start with something that I haven't quite gotten through yet. I'm probably about 35 to 40% into this Beatles Get Back miniseries. I will call it a miniseries, 8 hours. It's interesting. I was trying to explain to a friend of mine who's not a huge Beatles guy exactly why people are into this collection of tapes and this remastered Peter Jackson 2021 miniseries, which is kind of a reboot, I believe, of the Let It Be movie from way back when, 1970 ish. And I would say, what I said to my friend, what I'll say to you folks is this is kind of like for Beatles fans, this is a peek into that world that the Beatles fans have been dying to see, which is basically the guys just hanging out, the lads or the band, as you call them. They want to take a peek into that world that's been kind of closed off. Sure, there's been other footage out there before, but not to this extent. I mean, they could even, they being, Peter Jackson or Apple, whoever owns this material, could conceivably release all 60 hours and people would watch it because the Beatles fans, fan is a shortened version of the word fanatic. And the Beatles fans, much like people who are into the Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or the Marvel comic universe or wrestling, baseball fans used to be this hardcore about checking the daily paper for the statistics. If you are an aficionado of a topic, no matter what it is, I'll put a little light on just so you can see me. You want to see every little nook and kernel and cranny. Now, for the casual viewer, the casual Beatles fan, is this stuff gripping? I've become more of a Beatles fan the last 2 years, and I'll get into that reason in just a moment. But for me, is this material gripping, cinematic, engrossing? Well, like I said, I'm 40% into it. It was hard for me to sit there and watch a full episode in one sitting. In one sitting, I don't know, and but that being said, I'm kind of into it, and I'm enjoying it. But I need to sit there and concentrate and watch more of it and get through it. But it does feel like a quest that you're challenging yourself to get through. I felt this way similarly to when I was trying to watch the Lords of the Rings movies in 2020. They were part of the comeback classics, like the Peter Jackson 2000s era Lord of the Rings trilogy. I never really watched that trilogy, so I'm trying to get through this thing in the theater, and it was difficult for me. So there is something to be said, folks. If you're not feeling something, do you have to force yourself to watch it? Are you missing out on the cultural canon if you don't engage in everything that other people watch? I don't have the answers to this, but it's kind of like people who maybe they haven't seen a Shakespeare play, like a Hamlet in the park or something. If you're kind of missing out on some of these things, you feel like you're missing out on some of these things. I got into this recently with another thing, just a pop culture conversation. As you may know, I recently co-starred in the movie Mr. Birthday. I was up in Rhode Island for the big premiere. Now, the lead actor in this film was a nice guy, talented, very nice guy, and his wife is a very nice lady too. I sent a shout out to his wife, Jason London, the star of this movie, Mr. Birthday. But his big claim to fame was the film Dazed and Confused, 1994, Richard Linklater. Well, guess what? I've never sat there and watched the entire Dazed and Confused film. It's just people try to show it to me once a long time ago. For whatever reason, the moments that they showed me did not connect with me. I'm not sure why. I just didn't like it, and I never sat through the whole movie. And I've seen a lot of movies, especially early '90s movies, mid '90s movies, the independent film revolution. Richard Linklater, the director of Dazed and Confused, I'm quite familiar with most of his work. Waking Life, I saw in the theater 3 times. Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, the Julie Delpy, Ethan Hawke series, 3 movies by them. I've seen his first movie, Slacker. Way back when, a friend of mine commented that I reminded them of the person in the back of the taxi cab talking, and so forth. That might have been Ethan Hawke. I'm not sure. But the point is, I'm a big Richard Linklater fan. I just never got into Dazed and Confused, which left a big, wide gap in my pop culture playbook. So now, when I'm working with Jason London all these years later, I'm not really, no offense to him, because I think he's a great guy, but I wasn't sitting there in awe or in, you know, succumbing to him or whatever. I wasn't what's the word, starstruck, because I just was not really familiar with his work. To be honest with you, his biggest claim to fame, I knew him from other things. I believe Man in the Moon was a movie of his with the young Reese Witherspoon. But the point is, I wasn't sitting there thinking about Dazed and Confused because I'd never seen it. I'll give you another example for the pro wrestling fans. I know there's a lot of pro wrestling fans here on Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel, and some non-pro wrestling fans, which is a nice mix. But for the wrestling fans, I'll give you a little dirty secret. The Undertaker's debut, Mean Mark Callis as the Undertaker, Survivor Series 1990, it was quite some time before I saw that original debut appearance at the Survivor Series and choke slamming Coco Beware and getting disqualified and beating up Dusty Rhodes and Bret Hart and being introduced by Ted DiBiase with Paul Bearer. I did not see that initial debut of The Undertaker in live time, and it was quite a while before I saw it. Now, once I did see that 1990 Survivor Series, it actually became one of my favorite pay-per-views because I liked that idea of the Survivor Series winners fighting each other at the end. So my point is, maybe me, haven't fully appreciated the Undertaker's full body of work or his career as others have that were there for his debut. In other words, people that watched it in live time, whether at the arena or watching on in the comfort of their own home. I believe that was the night before Thanksgiving, 1990. So, my point is, you know, maybe my enjoyment of the Undertaker all these years has been diminished a bit because I didn't see his debut as it happened. See, I'm just providing insights. That's what I do. I provide insights into the human psyche. What else? so So this Beatles thing, getting back to that, I guess this is the lead topic. You're more than welcome to come in here with a Q&A. I guess people are just in awe of what I'm saying. But the Beatles thing, for what it's worth, it is a slow watch. Uh, it is interesting, but I think it's probably more played better for the hardcore Beatles fans. Apparently, this thing was supposed to come in to Disney at 6 hours, and the director Peter Jackson squished in the 8-hour cut that he wanted to show. Good for him. I do respect that. I don't think that a director in this situation of a mini series should feel like he's got to cut his work down. We're not talking about a theatrical movie here. Look at that nice lighting. Shout out to that guy months ago who suggested I use this type of light. Actually, it's working well tonight. I might have to put on my glasses though because I'm blinding myself. That's not a bad light. So for that guy that suggested that, thanks. People say, "Well, Mike, why do you do these videos in your car?" Yeah, well, the point is, I want to call the shots in this thing. I'm not sitting here in a studio because I'm not trying to fabricate that I'm on television. This is YouTube, and I feel that I'm doing YouTube the way it should be done. This is on the go, run and gun. This is a guy living his fucking life, and I'm not revolving myself around trying to put on a pretense that I'm in some type of studio. And I speak loud enough that I don't need a microphone, okay? So what else can I say? Basically another microphone. Now, I wish I did have another microphone for my Eric Roberts interview, which you might have seen. The basic point, somebody on Reddit tried to expose me and humiliate me, but I'm in on the joke, asshole. Yes, I know that the microphone was not working in my Eric Roberts interview. The microphone was there as a visual prop so that the people that I was interviewing felt a little more comfortable. Because if I was just standing there with a cell phone, they would think I was some type of asshole. But if I'm there with a cell phone and a fucking microphone, they think I'm a great guy. So it's a little psychology, folks. It works every time. You know what I mean? If you give people enough bread, they'll come to the circus type of thing. And what else can I discuss? More people are asking me, although I did a whole interactive rant about this topic, this Jeff Hardy subject matter will not go away. For those that don't know, he's a pro wrestler, once again, 25 years in the business. He's had a series, a roller coaster life, highs, lows, and unfortunate some dependency issues on substance abuse type stuff. And he's gone to rehab a few times and cleaned himself up. But he left the ring in the middle of a 6-man tag about a week and a half ago or a week ago, and he left his partners. He kind of abandoned the match. So I mean, it's hard to. I mean, it's kind of like if you were a football player and you just left the field and walked off the field and went through the crowd. And so the company that he works for, the infamous WWE World Wrestling Entertainment, said, "Hey, we want to send you Jeff Hardy to get some rehab." And Jeff apparently passed on that opportunity, and he was subsequently released. So the company felt that he needed to get some additional help. They were willing, as is their policy, which I do give them credit for. They were willing to pay for that, and Jeff said no, thank you, and so they released him. And so the whole wrestling world is very interesting in a lot of ways. The way that their contracts works, very interesting. Interesting meaning odd, by other comparisons with normal work. So basically, Jeff Hardy has no employer as of right now. But I mean, he's been wrestling for 25 years, and I was just listening to Eric Bischoff in 83 Weeks with Conrad, and the point is, um, he should by all accounts. Donna, my good friend, is checking in, acting student of mine from core acting days. Nice to see you, Donna. Donna's a writer as well. Feel free to plug your website, Donna, your book. But for the point is, Jeff Hardy, he's here, but he's not there. He's not fully engaged with what he's doing. If he's leaving the ring during the middle of a match and he's kind of upsetting people, meaning his actual partners in this match, Drew McIntyre and whoever his other partner was, it might have been Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods or somebody, but he's kind of leaving these people abandoned. That's akin to name your performance, ice capades. If a skater just skated off the ice and never came back, for those of you that remember the ice capades, what a time that was. If you were in a stage play, a theater play, and one of the characters just left the fucking set, Brutai, where'd you go? You know what I mean? You can't do that. But Jeff did, and he got released. And so the next thing we saw is that his brother Matt Hardy's saying, "Oh, Jeff's fine. I talked to Jeff. That's his brother." And apparently Jeff Hardy has gone on to Matt's podcast or broadcast and said, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine." Well, if you were fine, why were you leaving the ring the last week? Why? If you were fine, you weren't acting fine a week ago. Here's my friend Donna Marie. She's got her nice information. She's got her website. Donna is a writer, and very good. So I'll leave that up there for a moment. Donna, congratulations. As some of you have known, that I've been feverishly writing my books. A Distance from Avalon, When the Dying and the Dead Reunite, is on Amazon right now. I also have a film primer on how to make independent films, short films, and so forth. That's up there on Amazon Kindle. And Fight or Play Basketball, I did complete. I finished that for the Amazon Kindle version, and I'm going to, I guess, over the next month or so, rework another version of it, a more traditional version. But for those of you that do have Amazon and want to try this Kindle experience on Kindle Vella, try it. You can read the first 3 episodes for free. Donna, as a writer, you might actually want to give that a shot yourself, the Amazon Kindle Vella. And let's see what else. Donna's saying, thanks, Mikey Messier. Looking forward to working with you again. I enjoy your prophetic shares. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. What else can I say? What else can I comment on? I did go see the Encanto movie last week when I was in New England. I was in Connecticut. And I'll just give a mini review. The movie starts off strong with a big song and dance number. This is a cartoon, an animated movie. I guess it's not a cartoon, it's more of a CGI animation. And I guess it's a thing because just based on this and the original, based on this, maybe West Side Story, The Heights. I mean, I'm really not trying to paint a brush here or use a paintbrush, but it seems like of those 3 musicals, which have a Latina American or a Latino or a Latinx American vibe, it seems like they all kind of start off with a big musical number where all the characters are introduced. Now, is that becoming a cliche, or is that the standard issue way of doing things? But Encanto kind of starts like that. It reminded me of The Heights. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. Donna's got another comment here. Or I Have Traveled. Okay, that's her book. Very good. Yep, it's a powerful book. And so my point is, when you're watching this Encanto, I kind of felt like I'm already watching The Heights again, or something, West Side Story or something. And then we go into the movie. I did enjoy it. I did like the theme. There has a theme in this movie of the middle child, kind of like the Jan Brady syndrome, the middle child who gets ignored, and all these kids in this Encanto family have these gifts, these supernatural powers. One can impersonate anybody else. One daughter has like the perfect. She produces flowers by just kind of waving her hand, and flowers appear. It's kind of a weird gift. One of them is kind of like a power lifter, which was interesting, which I thought was nice because it kind of shows girls that you don't have to be a princess; you can be a power lifter as well, which is a nice thing for all the Jordan Grace fans out there, and so on and so forth. So the movie started off kind of strong, but at some point I kind of bottomed out. I got tired, and I kind of dozed off a couple of times, and then I woke up, and when the movie was kind of ending, I guess my attention had just wavered, and I was kind of just like, what's going on here? And the movie kind of ended in kind of a weird way. Like it just kind of ended, it seemed, without much resolution. And I don't know if they were leaving the door open for a sequel or what, but I was a little confused. But to my own fault, I wasn't paying that much attention. I was the only person in the theater. I don't say that type of thing to degrade the film. I say that because I talk to people who are all nervous and nillies about going to see a movie in the movie theater. And I say, you go to the movie theater, that's the safest place you can be most of the time these days because no one else is there. You know what I mean? So I mean, unless you go to the movie theater and the one other person in the theater sits next to you and starts coughing on your neck or breathing in your face, you should probably be fine. I mean, it's a simple thing. If you go to the matinees, if you go on a Wednesday night or something like that, if you don't go see the like if you're gonna go see Spider-Man on Thursday, yes, the theater will be packed. But if you see Spider-Man the following Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it won't be. So I'm just trying to explain to people because I do these Mike's interactive movie reviews. I'm trying to single-handedly save the film industry, and I just need people to respect that and go to the movies. Because once again, uh, it's one of these things that's going to happen. If the movie theaters start shutting down, then all the people that didn't buy tickets for the last 10 or 20 years will say, oh, I missed the movies so much. Well, asshole, you didn't go to the theater for 20 years. And when you did go, you snuck your own fucking M&Ms and your own popcorn into the theater. You didn't buy the concessions. So I'm a little pissed off that people don't heed my advice and go to the theater as I demand them to. But in any event, what else can I discuss? Uh, I did watch the Alec. God, I'm going all types of places, folks. I'm really digging deep into these conversations. I did watch the Alec Baldwin interview. God, was I going to do another take? I don't. I can't remember if I did another video on this or not. But the Alec Baldwin thing, I thought was riveting television. Like, I mean, look, if you like him or hate him, Alec Baldwin is terribly watchable. You know, it's just a personality. And I mean, I'm not trying to make light of the situation. Obviously, this poor cinematographer lady has passed away. The movie will never get finished. This Rust movie, that's history. But basically, it's engaging to watch Alec Baldwin talk about this tragedy because he's an engaging guy. And it feels like when he's talking about things, it's like he's in a fucking movie, you know, and it's just he's an interesting dude. What can I fucking say? Now, as far as people giving him a hard time, you know, I don't know. I wasn't there. What the fuck? I mean, it is. People are saying, well, why did he even do this interview? Well, in his, I guess, was it George Stephanopoulos asked him that, why are you doing this interview? And Baldwin's response was he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait till February or March to say what he had to say. You could call that spin. You could call that getting ahead of the curve. Maybe he just wants to talk about it, and rather than go see a therapist behind closed doors, which he probably has as well, I'm just speculating. He felt the need to tell his side of the story. Now, is that going to, you know, once again, it might be a thing where him telling his side of the story proves to be a bad move with the legalities of this situation. We'll see, or maybe it'll be a neutral effect. I mean, the I believe the prosecutor in that was it New Mexico. This tragedy happened. I think she wasn't too happy about Baldwin doing this interview, but he did it. So maybe they'll bite him in the ass. Maybe it won't. I did find it interesting, folks. A little mini controversy I discovered on YouTube a couple of years ago. Apparently, Baldwin's current wife, who looks 20 to 25 years younger than him, good for them. Just as an aside, not as a judgment, but apparently she was accused of what's that word? Co-opting a Latina or Latina, which is A for the feminine, a Latina accent. She was, I guess she's like Irish from Boston, but she was accused of what's that word? Appropriating a Latina vibe, a Latina accent, and people have kind of discovered this, and people have shown the footage and so forth of her not being legitimate in this Latina accent, and so on and so forth. So I find it interesting. What an interesting couple, right? What else? What other things have been happening in this world? The Kyle Rittenhouse thing. I did a whole interactive video on that. You know, my advice to the kid, not that he's watching my channel, but he could, who knows, is go away for a while. You know, don't let anyone manipulate you. That they already have, of course. As far as the media or taking sides, he doesn't have to do that. He can just try to be as normal as possible. But I mean, yes, he'll always be Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, to be honest with you, wouldn't it be a bad move if he changed his look a little bit and changed his name? And I'm not trying to tell the kid what to do, but and you can say, well, why should he change his name? He did nothing wrong. Blah blah blah. Okay, fine. But I'm just saying, if he doesn't want to be in the public eye, if he wants to have a life of anonymity, I'm pronouncing words well tonight. Then let him do that. You know what I mean? Like, let change your name and just go down a different road, and you can always pull your name back if you want. But my advice to Rittenhouse: change your name, go into hiding a little bit, and because there's going to be people who sanctify this guy and others who vilify this guy. And he lived through a hellish night. Others didn't, obviously. And the best thing I would think for this kid, if he doesn't see him, I mean, bruh, just trying to get famous, you know, but for what? Well, go away, reinvent yourself, learn a new hold, and come back and see us later. But I kind of feel like the kid should just do something else. Some big interesting folks. I will say this: I've watched more of the news recently, I guess I find myself kind of bored with the pro wrestling world, so I'm watching the news. There was that Ahmed Aubrey case. I was happy to see that the guys involved in that got found guilty. I thought they were guilty, and I did find that I'm happy to see that Jussie Smollett, got 5 out of 6 um, as far as his thing goes. 5 out of 6 counts against Jesse were found guilty, and it does seem, look, I wasn't there either, but it does seem like he fabricated a story, and that really was a divisive story, and I think people need to be held accountable when they do such things. And he abused his power as a celebrity, and I would like to see people kind of make good and apologize. You watch all these news clips of these celebrity or celebrity people or newscasters who are all up in arms about Jesse getting attacked. Well, let them apologize. I mean, apologize and admit you are wrong. And that goes all the way to our vice president, Kamala Harris. I was having a political conversation with someone who did vote for Kamala and Joe, and they were kind of disappointed that Kamala has not been as active as we had been kind of led to believe she would be. So where are you, Miss Kamala? We all voted for you, or enough people did to get you into office. Why aren't you doing things front and center? Why are you letting this old Joe go out there and risk injury and all that? Where's the young, vibrant Kamala? And where's this second man or whatever he's called, her husband, this dude? Where the hell is he? Where have they been hiding? Come party with us, right? I mean, I thought that was the whole thing, that we were going to have this fresh face in these people, but where the fuck are they? So anyway, what else can I discuss? We're hitting the 30-minute mark. If anyone has further comments or queries, please jump in. Otherwise, I guess I'll call this an end in a moment or two. I'm going to crack my neck. Oh my God, I don't know if you heard that. My neck just popped. I definitely need a chiropractor. If anyone can recommend one or is one, wants to give me chiropractic, maybe I'll do a video for you. But please, I could use a chiropractor. My neck, my lower back, all my extremities are in need of some cracking and popping. I don't know if you heard that neck crack. It was quite violent. But I always feel better after a nice neck crack. Oh, they call this traction. What else can I talk about? Um, I don't know. I mean, look, I've been traveling up and down the East Coast. I've kind of made, my own little pilgrimages. Very exciting. It's always interesting to go away, and it's always interesting to come back. And things may change for me soon. Things may not. We'll discover. It's always a question with me, folks, of how deeply engaged do I get with people and associations and so forth. You want to, here's the thing, folks. You ready? I mean, we've gone 28 minutes. If you're still with me at this point, I guess I'll get into some heavy shit, and I'll even take the banner off because this is the intense part of the show. Um, here's my theory. You ready? It's kind of like in groups or organizations. I'll use the best example that I have, and it's not trying to convince anyone of anything, but say a church group. It's fun to go to church. You meet all these nice people, and there's women there or whatever, and but you come to church, go like once a month, go maybe twice a month, and just go enough so that people kind of get excited by your presence. If you go to that church too often, they don't give a fuck about you. Once you become the person who's just stacking up the chairs at the end of the service, you're just another asshole. You see, like the hunt for these church people, I'm using the church as an example, but you could substitute team or a group or affiliation, whatever you want. But once these people get used to you being there and you become just another weekly schmuck, you have no excitement. There's no mystery. There's no sexiness to you. So what the point is, if you're going to get involved in groups, you kind of put like one toe in the ocean, pull it back, leave the beach, come back a couple of weeks later, put that toe back in. You know what I mean? Flirt with that ocean, flirt with that body of water, but don't jump right in. And you know what I mean? Because the point is, you're more exciting, you're more intriguing as that outsider, like that person they're trying to wrangle. If you just come in, you're like, here I am, I'll do whatever you want, you're just a mark, you're an idiot. So the point is, always keep them guessing, leave them wanting more. You know, that's the reality of the situation. Let these assholes want you more than you want them. You know what I mean? It's that law of power. It's the battle of who cares less. But people associate that with just a one-on-one relationship. But I'm saying that concept of he who cares less wins. That applies to group dynamics as well. And I guess what I'm really getting at is, if you're in a group or an organization, the closer you get to the center of it, the nucleus, the heart of that organization, the worse it is. You know what I mean? Like, once you see how the sausage is made, you don't want to eat sausage anymore. The closer you get to the core, the decision makers, blah, 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 I'm telling you, it's not as fun as when you're kind of like on the outside looking in, or when you're halfway in. That's the point. So people may or may not understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to make this a life lesson for you, because you've hung with me for 28 minutes. But the point is, when you get closer and closer and closer to the heart of an organization, when you become someone who comes weekly, you're stacking up the chairs. You're not getting that extra pat on the back, or you're not getting the star treatment. That's just my life lesson for the night. Take it, leave it, modify it, do whatever you want. I'm so giving. I'm like the giver. Okay, that young adult novel. Of course, I've written my own young adult novel, Fight or Play Basketball. A great read on Amazon Kindle Vella. I hope you all read it. Read episodes 1 through 3 for free. So on and so forth. Well, that's about it, folks. So if anyone has a last-minute comment or a question, Donna came in. She was a first-time commenter. I appreciate that. New England individual, person, writer, so forth. But if anyone else has a comment, go ahead. Otherwise, we're going to call this, we're going to put this pony out to pasture. We're going to put this salamander in the sink. We're going to flush this turtle in the toilet. And that'll be the end of that. So on and so forth. What else can I discuss? I don't know. I think I'm all out of bubble gum. So thank you very much. Actually, you're welcome very much for this wonderful interactive rant. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. I've kind of hit a plateau with subscribers, folks. So what you can do to help me is share these videos, copy and paste the URL. And you can also do this wonderful thing. You can also tell a friend. If you're enjoying these late night rants, if you're enjoying these late night discussions, share the videos. Thank you, Donna. You're welcome. Share these videos. Share the URL. Tell your friends, family, strangers, the derelicts in your life that subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel, the Messier Mantra catalog, Mike's original films, Blood Sugar Sid Ace, my brand new interview with Eric Roberts, the brand new web series, Chris and the Coffee Girl, the Philadelphia Experiment. You might find some joy in that, Donna. A very interesting piece. All the wonderful things here on Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. We've covered the current events. We covered a film review. All these things we've done. And I will call it a good night. Subscribe to Mike Messier. God damn, I keep forgetting things. I was going to say that I've been listening to the Sage of Quai, Mike Williams, break down this Beatles thing with his Paul is dead theory. Paul is not his, but it's a theory. Paul is dead conspiracy theory. So if you're into that, I will cross-reference my buddy Mike Williams, who I hope to interview again soon. I saw another old pal of mine, Rod Weber, doing wonderful things with his new movie, 2020, the year of the dumpster fire, or some such thing. So everyone's very excited. Everyone's doing wonderful things. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. Oh, oh, oh.